for today, overcome the overwhelming. Anybody know what that means? Huh? All right, just checking. All right. For you to stand tall with this disease, and I will say stand up with Parkinson's, if only in your mind. What's that mean? Stand up with Parkinson's means exactly that. You stand up and you face it. Is this an easy disease? No. Well, that didn't take you long to get that out of your mouth. Now, what's tough? This hour is all about you getting inside your head and inside your heart and facing the reality of your life as you have it today with Parkinson's disease. This is what you have, this is what you're going to do about it, and this is your empowerment to take command of your life. Because this is disease that comes into your life like a dictator. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
How many of you thought the timing was terrific? Huh? The timing is lousy. It always makes me very sad because, you know, seniors, I call those sensational seniors, like that. Sensational seniors like us, well, maybe not me because I'm still working full time, but you know, you're looking forward to retirement and free time and fun time and to do the things you want and love to do because finally you have the time to do it, right? And then you're asked to fit Parkinson's into your life, and it's very time consuming, it's very distractive, it's very dictatorial. It takes over if you let it, all right? So the timing was terrible, right? Okay, so what is the challenge? What is the greatest challenge that it creates for you? How does it make you feel? What's it all about? What's this disease all about? Taking away. You always hear the word loss. What's it taking away? Abilities. It takes away abilities. This hits you physically, you know. It's muscular, it affects every muscle in your body, you know this. So your dexterity, your strength, your balance, your ability to do what you wanted to do and love to do and really gotten good at over all these years is taken away. And that's a very hard thing because we human beings, we don't want anything taken away from us, do we? We want to keep what's ours, we want what we want it our way. It's just the way that we are. So it's very, very difficult to have something that you've loved your whole life and been good at and spent your time. And I think a lot of times with many people, the things that you're good at really self-identifies you. Am I right with that? But a lot of times, you know, when you lose the ability to do one thing, it's very painful, it's very hurtful, it's a loss. But it gives you the opportunity as well then to look into yourself to realize, well, what else can I do? What else am I really good at? So a lot of times living with disability and even the aging process, I can't do this anymore. Well, maybe I've conquered that, okay? Now what can I get into now that I can enjoy and really be good at? How many of you have had to find something else, you know, to use your time and to enjoy? In other words, you have a choice. You can either get very angry, very arrogant with the fact I can't do it, I'm furious about it, I want to do it, I can't do it. And I had the one patient in my life, the only patient in the 18 years I've been doing Parkinson's, that I couldn't get to flip to a positive note. And he was just the meanest, most ornery thing I've ever known in my entire life. You know, I wanted to slap him. Because he couldn't wrap his head around, this is who I am today, I've lost it, I've got to let it go. And his thought process was so negative, and he was so nasty, that he died prematurely, I think, from meanness.
But you said me.
No, for me, no. But his negative mood spoils his life, spoiled his thinking. And we all know that the body follows the mind. If you can't keep your head where you need to keep your head on a positive note, you're not going to do well with this disease. I call it the positive face of Parkinson's disease, the positive attitude, the disposition of living with this disease. And the only thing that's going to keep you standing and moving forward is your positive attitude.
And you.
Oh, in Marilyn? Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'll just sit here on my perch and keep chirping. Okay, all right. And so you have the choice, no matter how thin you slice anything, you can flip it. Now, I'm not saying you have to be all bright and perky 24/7. Come on now, I know what you're living with. This is the toughest disease out there, and you've got it. It hits you, every component of your body, mind, and spirit is affected by it. Physically, we all know what it does to you physically. Little difference physically, right? Appearance, abilities, energy, balance, everything is impacted with this. The symptoms are very obvious. We can't mask them, we can't hide them. You know, I often think you can look at somebody with MS and not even know they have MS, right? You can't see those symptoms. They're very, very sick, and they feel very, very terrible. But when you look at them in a restaurant or the theater, they look just fine. But they're still living with a horrible thing. But with Parkinson's, the benchmark symptoms are very apparent and very obvious. So they can affect your sense of self, your worth, and your confidence level. Emotionally, the emotions affected with disease are the toughest ones out there. Like what?
Depression.
Depression. How many of you have had a bout of depression in your life? Yeah. Everybody gets depressed, gets sad a little bit. This is what this comes along with the disease. It's part of it. It's expected. Neurologists that know what they're doing with Parkinson's expect to see a mild to moderate depression as part. This is a brain disease. The depression we're talking about is a chemical imbalance. It's not has nothing to do with your emotions or your personality or anything like this. You're depressed because of the chemical imbalance in the brain and the stress and strain that you're living with. So if you go through the blues, the blahs, for a certain period of time, that's okay. I'll give you 3 days tops, and then you will get over it. Get over it. Right? If you're in a funk for more than 3 days, you might be heading for trouble because you can't be active, you can't be positive, you can't be having a great life, you can't be standing up to Parkinson's if you're depressed. Because if you're depressed, you're down here, and you're not going to live with this disease unless you're standing up looking at it. Wide awake, eyes wide open, I accept it, I see it, I understand it, I know what I've got today, and I pretty much sure know what I can expect tomorrow. And most of all, I'm smarter and I'm stronger than Parkinson's, and I will do this. There is your will. But the emotions are tough. Depression is one. What else?
Frustration level.
Frustration level, number one answer. Why are you frustrated? You try and can't. You try and can't. I want to. My brain wants. My brain wants to do it. I'm motivated. I want to do it. My body will not allow me to do it. You're frustrated because you're stuck with something that you don't want, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Right? So how do you deal with it?
Keep trying.
Keep trying. You better believe it. You are in one good mood today. Huh? Are we taping him? You better tape this day, Dusty, because he's really rocking today. I'm happy to see it. You make me happy. You keep trying. You keep trying. I can't do it? Okay, I'm going to try something else. I will not succumb to it. All right, so keep trying. Here's your willpower. All right. What else? Frustration is huge. Hold on to it. Big thing with dealing with frustration is acceptance and tolerance. Oh, two tough ones. How many of you have accepted? My patients and my caregivers. Her hand goes right up. Joyce has done extremely well with this disease. I've been walking with her since it began. She's really a pro at it. All right. How many of you have accepted your life as it is today? How many of you have accepted what looking back at you in the mirror?
What's the option?
What's the option?
I've been waiting for you. I'm just checking on you. You've got to accept it. It's reality. What's the option? You can crawl under an emotional rock. You can deny it. You can make excuses. You can let it take over. There's plenty of options. But for you to live well, you have to accept. You have to tolerate who you are and what you are today. Because believe it or not, you're terrific. What was that look, Steve? Keep that. You're terrific. I remind you every single time I speak with you that you're terrific. Why? Because this disease can change a lot of things, physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially, but it can't really change who you are. No disease out there, and I've done them all, can affect the wonderful, beautiful qualities that make you lovable. Well, oh, I threw myself out there that time. Huh? Why do you love them, my caregivers? My patients, why do you love your caregiver? What are the qualities that made you love them in the first time? First, you know, we lose track of this. Schneider's having, and they've been married 152 years. I can't imagine 52
That's
years.
pounds.
Right. Why did you love him in the first place? You ever go back in the glory days when we looked at a lot better and things were a lot easier? Why did you love him in the first place? I always say you can't stop loving, you can't make it happen. It's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. So you look at each other, you patient caregivers, or even if you're a solo person, a single person, you know, what makes you lovable? What are your qualities? And those qualities, this disease absolutely cannot touch. Thank you. Right? What makes you great? What makes you lovable? Tell me.
Who you are.
Who you are. Right? It can change the physical, and we also have to talk along the way about, you know, about the mental component. The mental issues with this disease make it very, very, very difficult. With the memory loss, how many of you are living with mild to moderate to severe memory loss? Makes it very difficult with functioning during the course of the day. Makes it very, very difficult with communication, all right, with progressing through the day, as well as, you know, cognitive issues. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step commands, right? You know, the redundancy of saying it over and over and over again. How many of you are living with memory loss? I want to remind you that you forgot. I don't know if I am or not, right? How to overcome the overwhelming, all right? It's very important that you understand that this is an overwhelming disease, and what makes it so overwhelming is that it affects all parts of you. And the other thing that makes it overwhelming for you is it's progressive, it's degenerative, right? It's going to continue. It's going to continue. That's a reality that you have to embrace and accept and understand as part of living well with Parkinson's. And I always define it as living well with Parkinson's. The mission of Parkinson Place is to give you a better life today, which is what we're trying to do with all of our clinics and our free programs and services, because there is no cure. The other thing that makes it so overwhelming and so devastating is the fact that there are no two of you the same. Isn't that fun? I have known hundreds and hundreds of Parkinson patients. I've never seen two the same. So it's not like we're able to really give you a timeline or an understanding or a clear forecast. We can't do it. So the key with overcoming the overwhelming is to live where? Right in the present, right here in the minute, in the hour, in the day. And I think this is true of everything. Whether you have Parkinson's disease or not, because, you know, tomorrow is nothing but a guess for any of us. I always say God can blink his eye and change everything. So by the time you go to bed, your life could be totally different than when you woke up in the morning. Right? So your ability to accept and to have some form of sense of control. What happens with a diagnosis, particularly with a diagnosis like this one, is you have a loss of control. We like to control what's coming. We like to control, if I do this and this, this will happen, right? There's very little control, even within the course of the day with this disease. It's a sudden loss of control. How many of you go like this during the course of the day? Right? You wake up, you have good intentions, you feel really great. You told me that this morning, you woke up feeling great, right, sweetheart? And by the time he got here, he was off. He wasn't having a good day. So his day lasted between 7 and 9 this morning, right? So that's a very difficult thing. You wake up with a state of mind, and you think, I'm going to have a great day, I'm going to do this, this, and the other, and then the disease kicks in, even if you're taking the same medications, and throws you off. And that's a tough thing. That's a tough pill to swallow. And it's equally as difficult for you caregivers. Please understand, my Parkinson patients, you know, this is equally devastating and overwhelming to your caregivers. You know why? Because when you love somebody, you don't want to see them struggle. Who wants to agree with that statement? You don't want to see them struggle. You want them to be whole and to be happy. You want their life to be easy. You want them to do what you're having to do for them now, right? It hurts. It hurts to see you struggling with this disease. So the key is then, you know, to work together and to communicate and to realize that I'm going to live right in the minute and I'm going to make this minute the very best that I can make it. And that means that you have to live on a conscious level. And that's a stupid statement, I guess, isn't it? But you just can't take for granted. You just can't drift through the day. You have to be in the minute, consciously doing your best and trying. All right? A routine is imperative with Parkinson's disease. How many of you have a routine? Try to have some type of an agenda for the day. Without an agenda, it's chaos. And a routine is important because a senior with and without Parkinson's disease your body likes to be on a clock. We like to get up at a certain time, eat at a certain time, have our routine, have our lunch, have our meds, whatever, right? Because, and from a psychosocial aspect, you're here, you know where you are here, it's going to help you cognitively, and it's going to drive you forward, move you forward during the hours of the waking day. So if you don't have an agenda, I encourage you to have one. Now, life happens. I would say things set in stone are easily broken, but have some type of a guideline for the day to include your medications. The most important thing that you can do, all right, let me see, let me think about this. My top 3 things, all right, for living well with this disease, you gotta hold on to that positive attitude and hold on to your life. You gotta be under the care of a board-certified neurologist who has a passion for Parkinson's disease. This is a very tough disease to treat. You're what we call high maintenance. We love you, but you have a lot of needs. And there's no way we can flip you through in 20 minutes, right? Because you got a lot going on that we need to know about if we're gonna treat you well. So if you're not under the care of a board-certified neurologist that is managing you well, that listens to you, you don't have to love this guy or this lady, but you gotta find that doc that you build a relationship with built on understanding and respect. You hear me? What's hanging on the wall is very, very important with your neurologist. They've got to be board certified. They've got to come out of a good school because you deserve it. This is your life, and your medical management is huge, all right? You have to have somebody that when you talk to them, they listen. You know, I did a survey 100 years ago with my patients. What's the number one thing that you want from your physician? Do you know what the number one answer was? I want him to listen. You go to the doctor with an issue, a concern, a fear, a challenge. You want them to listen. And if they don't listen, there's no way that they can meet your needs. Forget it. So you fire them and you just ease on down the road because they're everywhere, but not the good ones. And the fact that they have, it's built on respect, that when you speak, that they listen, they respect your needs, and that they fill your needs. Right? So that neurologist is important. We've got 2 of the best right here in the building, and you know who they are. Juan Sanchez Ramos is the only fellowship-trained movement disorder specialist in the area. He is world renowned. And he really visits the complex cases. If you're having trouble, if you can't quite get it right, he's not going to replace your managing neurologist. He's not going to do that. He's just going to look at you with expert set of second eyes. And then he'll work with your physician to maybe tweak a few things. He's a huge resource. He sees patients here every single Wednesday. I encourage you to make an appointment with him every so often, or if you've had a major, what we call change in status, because Dr. Juan will spend an hour with you and take a look at the whole picture, review your entire case study, and really tweak it where it needs to be. Because without the medical management, there's no way that you can be great, right? All right. You got to be drug compliant. What do I mean by that? Drug compliant.
Take your medication.
Take your medications on time. And as the doctor ordered. I will give you a 5-minute window. Huh? Huh? 5 minutes. I don't care how you do it, but these are drugs that titrate up in your system, right? And if you miss one, you know, we want to keep you here physically and emotionally. This is what we try to do. With Parkinson's, we see a lot of this. I'm on, I'm off, I have energy, I'm pooped out. But the goal is, with the emotional and the medical management, we want to keep you like this so you can keep sense of peace and balance moving forward. So those drugs, when they're correctly given to you, need to be given and dosed at the appropriate time, because you build a level that you want to maintain in the bloodstream. And I know that medications, you take a lot of meds. I saw that little card that she handed you, and I was standing over there thinking, and no way they're going to fit everything on that little card.
It's pretty good. It's on both sides.
It's on both sides. Well, we got to design something. Dust. How many of you are enthusiastic about life? This might be a good time to lie to me. And raise your hand. Huh? How many of you wake up with a sense of enthusiasm?
For life. Yes.
Mary, get up with your hand. If you're going to live, you know, I always say, live like you're alive. Live like you're alive. I mean, you woke up this morning, you got to be gracious. I'm a big believer in, you woke up today, be gracious. How many of you are gracious for your life? How many of you see the good in your life?
Yes.
All right. You stay focused on the good long enough. You stay focused on the positive long enough. I would say keep your mind full of positive thoughts, so when negativity knocks, it can't get in. You know. I get criticized. Isn't that true?
That's good.
You know, I get criticized sometimes for being too optimistic, but I choose to be happy. All right. So what are some of the keys to living well with Parkinson's? How are you doing it? I sit up here on my perch and say, live well with Parkinson's. We're the positive face of Parkinson's disease. What does that mean? We're the positive face of Parkinson's disease.
Look for the good.
Look for the good.
Come
You know.
here 5 out of 10 days.
What's that now?
You come here from Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
That's already a opening of the days for
Okay.
me.
Okay. So, you know, the
And
thing
it takes over for me not being able to drive anymore. I
Yeah.
have my chauffeur.
That's it. Yeah. We created Parkinson Place so you would have a place to come. It's a resource for friendship and for resources and for everything else. You have no excuse to be belly up in a recliner. I forbid it. You know, you've got to get up, you've got to get dressed, you've got to get out. You've got to stay engaged. What happens a lot of times with all the neurological disorders is you lose the engagement in life. It's easier to go belly up in a recliner because life and activities of daily living is so hard for you. You know, you Parkinson folks, you're using twice as much energy, twice as many calories, twice as much effort to do what somebody without this disease is doing. So you've really got an excuse if you want to take it, you know, to just do nothing. Or say to me, oh, it takes too long, so I'm not doing it. Or I can't button my button, so I'm not getting dressed, all right? There's no excuse. There's no excuse.
I think it helps to be stubborn.
Yeah, you have to be, that's a very good point. I've been accused of that a few times too. You know, but buck up. You know, this is your life. And this disease is going to roll you over like a bulldozer if you stand still. You know, you can never hit a moving target, right? Keep moving. Keep moving. You got to get up. You got to say, I can. You will do it. You can't say, I think I'm going to do it, or maybe I'm going to do it. I want to hear from you. I will do it. I can do it.
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to do it. Period. I'm done doing it. Get out of my way. All right. Realize that patients and caregivers, you're a team. You got to work together. You got to pull sometimes, push sometimes. My patients, you need to understand that this is very overwhelming for your loved one. I talked about that a little bit earlier. You don't have a carte blanche to sit down and never get up. You know, your caregiver is not concierge. It's not wait staff. You will do as much for yourself as you possibly can. If you can do it, do it. And if you can do it for your loved one, do it for them. You know, don't get up and get a glass of iced tea and without saying, could I please get something for you, or what can I do for you? And, you know, maybe you can't do some of the bigger and better things that you could do in the partnership of your relationship. Maybe you can't clean the garage. Maybe you can't cook a turkey feast. Why would you want to? Huh? I was hungry for a turkey. I was hungry for a turkey on Sunday, and I didn't know where to go to get it. I just had this feeling I wanted a turkey dinner. Isn't that ridiculous?
Are you pregnant?
Am I pregnant? Oh my God.
I said go to Bob Evans.
Do they have it at Bob
You can take
Evans?
them, take out, they have a whole turkey dinner.
Okay. See the resources that I get? Bob Evans, turkey dinner takeout. I just wanted it. I had no idea. Yeah.
Sometimes if I see a project that I know he can do, I won't do it just to give him something to do that he can do.
Exactly. And that's a big thing with caregivers, finding things that they can do, because even if it's the smallest thing, even if it is the smallest thing, it's a sense of accomplishment. It's a nice thing that they can do to spend some time. You can be close at hand, giving assistance. Okay, you can work together. You got to modify your behavior and modify your thinking. You Parkinson patients, you know, you have a responsibility here. You have a responsibility to be the best that you can be. You have a responsibility to be accepting and to be positive. You have a responsibility to support your caregiver. How many of you are doing that? It is one time you can't lie to me because I do watch you. I know exactly what you're doing. See, when you see me sneaking in and looking in the back, I'm watching you. All right. And don't forget, you know, the easiest way to support somebody is, you know, they say words are cheap. You know, you can say you're going to do it or say blah, blah, blah. But the words I love you and thank you and I'm sorry and I appreciate you and what can I do for you, they're very meaningful words that can really contribute to a positive relationship, right? Yeah. So even though lots of times, lots of days can be very tiring, you can be dealing with burnout and with stress, just basically being exhausted physically and emotionally, you can get yourself right through that time by playing a positive note with words. Right? Don't get stuck in a negative moment. Get out of it as fast as you possibly can and move forward. How many of you say thank you for everything? And she's reminding him, you do. Did you know you do, darling? According to your wife of how many years? 54 years.
He does say thank you a lot.
Good for you. You folks that are living well with Parkinson's disease, what's your top tip? What's your top tip?
Stay positive.
Stay positive.
And
Thank you.
patience.
Be patient. Patience is tough, isn't it? To be patient and just wait.
Get behind their eyes.
Get behind, yeah, you do listen to me. Get behind the eyes of each other. Get behind the eyes of each other. After 50 years in nursing, you know, I realize that you really can't help somebody, you can't encourage them, you can't meet their needs if you don't get behind their eyes and really see life through their eyes and through their heart. And that's what we call empathy. And when you love somebody, you think that that comes naturally. It doesn't necessarily happen. But you have to take the time and the effort to really sit quietly and say, particularly when things get stressful and difficult, what must this be like for my loved one? What must it be like? What must they be feeling? Facing the non-stop 24/7 challenges that impact you with Parkinson, and it never stops, right? It never stops. So, you know, for you to really build and to grow as partners, Parkinson partners, which you are together, you need to constantly be working on this. And my patients as well, get behind the eyes of your loved one. Always remember my caregivers, even though you're the one that you're caring for might not verbalize it all the time. They know, because they love you, what caring for them and what this disease has done. Right? My Parkinson patients, hello? Huh? You know what caring for you and what you having the disease has done to your husband or to your wife or to your very, very best friends. So the point is that you have to work, the Parkinson patient, you have to work at staying engaged. You have to continue to strive to the best of your ability to maintain the relationship and the communication with the people in your life. And it's very true with memory loss. It's very, very difficult because you lose your ability to remember, you lose your ability to communicate, you lose the incentive to promote an ongoing relationship. A lot of people feel like, well, I'm not going to worry about you anymore because you can't remember what I'm saying to you. From my standpoint, which is what I believe in personally, because nobody has ever proven it to me to be any different, is because another human being is living with memory loss, because then they might not have the ability to process a thought, they might not have the ability to respond to you in the way that you feel is appropriate in a communication or in a relationship. It doesn't mean it's not going in, right? It doesn't mean it's not going in, and I want you to hold on to this. It's the one thing I've taught in all the years that I taught nurses and other people in healthcare. Is, you know, the memory, the process is, you know, it goes in, you hear it goes in, you put it in your memory bank. And then when you need it, you have the ability to find it and bring it out again. So if I say to you, my name is Marilyn, what is my name? Okay, so what happened? You heard it, you processed it, you banked it, and when you needed it, you could go in and find it, send it right back out to me. All right? Now, what happens with the memory loss, with the cognitive impairment is, it's going in. The problem is, the weak link is you can't find it and get it back out again. So please realize, when you're dealing with somebody with memory loss, they hear you. They hear you. So I'm an advocate, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think I'm right. Actually, I know I'm right. That you talk to that person just like they're getting it. And if they don't answer you, or if they don't say something correctly, or if they don't say what you want to hear, or if they can't remember the answer, it doesn't matter. You still continue to speak in a quiet, confident, respectful manner. I always say, keep talking when no one wants to listen. I do it all the time. Constantly, I'm talking. Whether you're listening, I don't know, I don't care, right? But the thing is too, you're getting it out of you, right? And sometimes young people, unless they've been exposed to it, and I encourage you, if you have children and grandchildren, to bring them into this picture. Let them walk the road with you. Let them share this with you. Don't hold them out here, because the more they're part of those stepping stones with you,
The other way.
the more they're going to understand, the more they're going to want to be involved with you, and the better that you can do for yourself is to keep those relationships wide open.